Hey y'all, today I'm going to do oil change in a SLK 55 AMG. This is an R172 generation. I just bought this car a few weeks ago and I noticed that no one has done an oil change video on it for some reason. So I wanted to go ahead and do that. I guess a lot of the first owners may not have changed the oil themselves, but I guess now we're probably in the second or third owners for a lot of these cars now. So I wanted to go ahead and make a video on that. I'm not going to go under the car to do it. I'm going to use an extractor. I think that's worth every penny. It's a whole lot less messy, and it's really how the dealership does it. So it's good enough for AMG. It's good enough for me, I suppose. I'll have a couple notes about the oil really quick. Let me grab that. The oil I'm using today is Liquimoly. This is the Molygen, their new gen supposedly stuff. It's a pretty good oil. I like it a lot, but the important part is not that I like it. The important part is that it's got the appropriate Mercedes-Benz certification on it for this car. That is MB229.5. So whatever oil you buy, make sure you get that. Know that like your standard issue oils probably don't have that certification on them. Most of them will have to be a European spec to have that certification. The other thing I want to mention is the oil filter. I'm using a Mann filter. Mann is one of the European brands, pretty good brand, nice oil filters. This is an HU 6008Z. Yeah, I just like, these are actually made in Germany. I like to get stuff that's made where the car was built. And it's a pretty good filter. It's an OEM style filter, so no concerns there. So without further ado, I will jump into the actual oil change. The first step is going to be to pop your hood. For those of you who may have never done that before, I'm going to quickly show you where to find your hood release. The hood release for these cars is going to be located in the car down here. Hopefully you can see where it is. It's right here. So if you go from your parking brake here, it's right under it. You'll have to reach up and pull down this red bar. So once you have done that, you can go to the front of the car, and right above the Mercedes symbol you can find your actual release lever. That is right here on this car, sorry, right here. So just above and to the left of that release. And you can see the beautiful engine on this car. We have our oil filler cap right over here. And then we have our oil dipstick in the back here. And of course, this is where we're gonna use the extractor. We're gonna go in through that to actually pull the engine oil out of this car. All right, the last thing is over here, we have the actual cap for our oil filter. To get this cap off, we actually have to pull this plastic sleeve off, but don't worry, that's not really a hard thing to do in this car. There's actually literally no screws or anything to pull off. You can actually just shuffle that off, pull the whole thing off, no big deal there. They do recommend putting a little bit of lubricant on this when you put it back together. I don't have that lubricant. I plan to order some for my next change, but I don't have it for this time. So right here is what I'm using for extraction. This is actually a mightyvac brand, MV2701 Fluid Evacuator Plus. The plus just means that it can suck in oil and it can push it back out when you're done. So it has two settings over here. With it pushed down, I believe is the correct setting. I always just verify that just by pumping on it while I'm holding my thumb over the hose I'm going to pull oil out of, and then I release my thumb and see if it pushes air past it or if it's pulling my thumb in. I know that when that's pushed down, it's pulling my thumb in, so that's going to be the extraction mode. Really no magic going on here. It's just sucking oil out. That's all it's really doing. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this dipstick out, and I'm going to put the extractor, the hose from the extractor that fits into this hose, and I'm going to push it all the way down until it can't go anymore. Make sure you don't push really hard when you're doing that, because you might break stuff if there's any plastics down in the engine. I'm just going to push gently until I find somewhere that it stops, and then I'll stop. I'll go from there. So here I have the tube in place. What I ended up doing was I have my my actual dipstick over here. I held the tube up to the dipstick to be the same length from the top of the filler where it comes out of the tube to the bottom of the oil dipstick. and then I fed that amount into the engine here, and then I added just a little bit. There's no resistance at that point, so I guess I was okay. I just added an extra inch or so to make sure I was near the bottom of the oil pan. So going from there, now I have my oil extraction tubes set up. I have this soft connector here. Just literally stick the ends in. There's nothing to it. It's just a friction fit kind of deal. And now I'm going to pull the oil filler cap off so the oil will flow more easily out of the engine. So I'm going to take this out and put it to the side here somewhere. Well, probably not there. I'll put it down here, out of the way. All right, and now I'm going to start pulling oil. See what happens. Okay, so you can see, maybe you can see the oil is coming. Here it comes. I'm gonna give this a break, let it just use that pressure to do its thing. All right, I'm just gonna keep at this. This is my first time actually using this extraction pump. Really quick, I wanted to mention that it looks like you actually don't have to pump really that much. I've got a liter, I think, in there so far. I don't know if you guys can really see the markings here. 4, 3, 2. So I'm at almost a liter now. I haven't really pumped all that much. I'm just kind of hanging out, really. So I'll update a little bit. So quick update. We're at 4 liters. It looks like it's a little less than a liter a minute. I've been out here for maybe 5 minutes, and we're at 4 liters. So, you know, grab a beer if you like that sort of thing while you're working on cars, or, you know, whatever you like. Go do something else while it's doing this. I just pump it every 30 seconds to a minute a little bit and let it do its thing. It's pretty straightforward. So while it's doing its thing, I'm gonna go ahead and pull off the oil filter. Again, that's this right here. I think it's a 27. 27, it might be a 26, but I don't have a 26, and it's plastic, and that scares me, but I'm gonna go ahead and use 27 and see what happens. See if I can do this. Time to do some sketchy shit. Yep, really don't like doing this one-handed, but it is coming off. I'll get you guys when it's done. All right, so now I got this loose. I'll pull this off. Let's see what's under it. Just the filter. Very nice. I'll let that drip a little bit. Try to make sure I don't drip on the... Oh, I did drip. Oh boy. All right, there we go. A couple drips. Not too awful though. So we are still pulling fluid. We're at about 7 liters. Once we get up to 8 liters, that's right here. I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna dump my fluid here, just so I don't, you know, fill up the whole system. And I'll keep going. While we're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and pull off my filter here. I'm just gonna pull the filter straight off, and then we can use a pick to pull the seal off the side there. Oh, my camera's having a little bit of a fit there. All right, yeah, I'm just gonna pull the filter straight out. There should be some clips in the back there, and then I'm gonna pull the seal out on the side. So I just got to pick one of these picks under the edge of the seal there. It's like, you can see the groove it sits in right there. It's right in here. My finger's too big for that. But anyway, see where the seal is, you just take the pick and pull it out, and that's it. And there's a little clip down in there. The clip looks like that. You just pull it straight out. Really no magic to it there. I'm gonna pop the new filter in, and I'm gonna stick the filter in, stick the seal back on, and put this back. All right, so I stopped just shy of the 8 liter mark here. So I'm gonna call that like 7 3/4 of a liter. I pulled off, there's a spout here I pulled off, and I'm gonna go ahead and pour this off into my container of choice, an old motor oil container. I'm probably gonna need more than that, but I'll put it in an old like pan or something, and then I will start pumping again. All right, so we are empty and running again. Just about filled up my little pan there. I don't really like that pan very much, but just about filled it up with oil. We're rolling. That was just about 8 quarts, 7 3/4, I think I was calling it. We'll see what we get up to. I also stuck this in. I have not torqued that down. This has torqued to 25 Newton meters here. So I'm going to do that here while I'm waiting for this to finish, I suppose. All right, so we're still rolling. I'm just above 2 liters is right there. So that means total I'm right at 10 liters. So I should expect this to stop at any moment. I'm a big fan of this method. It's a lot less messy. You have to wait around a little bit, but it's a lot less messy than getting under the car and dropping everything. And as long as I get all the oil out, I'm pretty happy. So throughout this process, I've been every once in a while, this has pulled air and I've just pushed the tube down a little more in there. There's not really been much resistance. I've been okay with it. Oh, there we go. I think it's done now. I was gonna say I hit a hard stop at the bottom, it felt like. Yeah, it doesn't really want to go any further. I'm not going to force it in because I know there's some plastic parts in some of the engines in the bottom. I don't want to break any of that. So I'm pulling basically air now, so we can maybe see. It's like frothing. That's pretty cool. Anyway, we're at, I don't know, I'd call that 2 3/4 of a liter, which means I was about half a liter high, which I don't love, but I don't know. This was dealership maintained, so I'm going to roll with it, put my 10 liters in and see what the level's at, and then maybe adjust if I need to. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I got more than 10 liters out, so I know I got most of the oil out. And yeah, that's pretty great. I'd never used an extractor before, so that was a pretty fun process. Try to get this last little, there we go. All right, I'm going to fish around a little bit here. Pull this out, push it in, see if I get anything else. Nope, nothing else. So that's going to be it. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. I'm going to release the pressure on this. To do that, you just push the bottom here. I'm going to hurt that, release the air pressure. Let this sit, let any residual oil run whichever way it's going to run. I have torqued this down to my 25 Newton meters. Remember, that's Newton meters, not foot-pounds. So if you use a foot-pounds wrench, adjusted, it's about 18, I believe, or 17 foot-pounds. And then I'm going to start filling, so give me a second. So for the filling portion, it's obviously, hopefully for watch speed, you know what you're doing here, but I use a bigger funnel. They do sell these little tiny funnels with cheap kits like that, but I freaking hate that thing. It's junk. So I'll use this, put that in, and just fill it with oil. I'm putting 10 liters in, that's what it calls for. Quick correction, that's 9.5 liters, that's 10 quarts. They're not the same, right? 9.5 liters capacity, 10 quarts. All right, so now I put all of my 9.5-ish liters in there. I check my oil level by using the dipstick. Remember, you have to pull it, wipe it, put it back in. On most cars, it's a recommendation. On this, it's basically a requirement. Check your oil level. Mine's right at max, so I'm happy with that. Make sure to thank your AMG maker. Thank you, Ratchet, for making a fantastic engine. The last thing, really quick, I want to note here is the old oil filter I pulled off is an original AMG. Can you read that? I don't know if you guys can even read that, but it's an AMG filter, and it's made by Hengst. Part number, I suppose that's 010AF32. What I just put in was a Mann filter, which is what I've used a lot with BMWs. So I just went with the same thing here. Pretty similar, but I'll probably switch to the Hengst next time because I know that's the OEM brand. All right, with that, that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoy your SLK, and yeah, happy wrenching.